So correct me if I'm wrong. Dad went to Michigan. Mom went to Michigan.
Yep.
Both sisters, Michigan Wolverines, yes?
Oh, yep. Yep.
So did you honestly have an option to go somewhere else?
To be honest, I did not. No. I may have visited some other schools, but, Michigan was always number one.
That was Aidan Hutchinson, and this is the debut of Season 2 of On the Bench with Mike Hall. That's me. Aidan is a star defender for the Michigan football team. And when I say star, I mean he's already listed as a likely first-round draft pick in the upcoming NFL draft. He's been good at Michigan since he got to Ann Arbor. As a freshman, he played in all 13 games. As a sophomore, he started all 13 games. And although his junior year was cut short due to injury, before this, his senior season started, he was already named to the Nagurski Trophy watch list, given the most outstanding defensive player in the country. And of course, a football career was written in the stars for him thanks to his bloodlines. His dad, Chris Hutchinson, played at Michigan in the late 80s, early 90s, becoming an All-American. Chris wore 97 at Michigan. So does Aidan now too. In fact, his dad is where I started off our chat. My pops is in finance, which, is lovely and all that, but it's not exactly as fascinating as having a dad be a doctor. So I wanted to know, what was it like growing up as a kid with your dad being a doc? My dad was in finance, which is pretty boring. Your dad was a doctor. What is that like as a kid?
Oh, it was pretty crazy. Some of the stories coming home, he'd tell me. It kind of made me not want to be a doctor in the future, just because I'm not a big like blood guy, not into all like cutting into things, all that stuff. Never been a huge fan of that, but some of the stories that he'd tell me, it's crazy, what goes on in this world, and you have no idea about every single day. So
you're talking like he'd come home from work and, whereas like a normal dad might put the briefcase down and just sit down for dinner, your dad's like, well, I had to cut off a leg today or something.
Honestly, yeah. And he says it so matter of fact sometimes. You're like, it's just insane, because as a doctor, he's been doing it now for 20 plus years. And you get so used to, seeing the craziest kind of things every single day. And, when he says it very matter of fact, but I'm sitting here, I worked out earlier that day, just chilling on the couch. He comes home, he saved a couple lives. It's just a different world when you walk in that hospital.
Man, doesn't it make you like appreciate those people who are actually making the world a better place? Like every once in a while I go like, well, I wear makeup for a living. But you know what I mean? And like, no disrespect to you, but you're like, yeah, I played football today, and my dad over here is literally saving human lives.
Yeah, it's insane how, like, that's his career. I get paid, well, in stipend right now, I get paid to hit people, and I get paid to get sacks, and he gets paid to just save lives. And it's just crazy, how different careers can be in this world. So
my first thought when I was, when I knew you had a father who was a doctor, I was like, oh man, it must have been really hard to fake being sick.
No, yeah, my dad, my mom was always the one that was just like, stay home, Aidan, you'll be good. My dad was always never missed a day of school for being sick. He would throw up and then go to school right after, like, so he was always kind of the more hard-nosed guy with that. And I always try to, fake a little sickness. Mom would say, yeah, just stay home today, you'll be all right. But it was kind of a different contrast in parenting right there growing up.
Yeah. Go to mom.
Yeah, oh yeah, of course.
He was obviously a great football player too. At any point in your youth, did he coach you ever?
No, he was never coaching me. We'd always, when I was a kid, throw the football in the backyard literally all the time. But I'd be on flag football teams. He was always just a spectator in all the sports I really did. So he was never really was the coaching dad.
Yeah. Because even like, T-ball or a different sport or anything?
No, nothing like that.
Well, he was saving lives, so he was.
Yeah, he was a little bit busy at the time.
I imagine, because I was thinking it must be weird if you had like, junior high football coach who was telling you to do X, Y, and Z, and your dad was like, actually, buddy, you're going to do it. Because he's got the pedigree to trump that guy if he wanted to.
Oh, yeah. No question. He actually, in my whole football career, he wanted me to reach out to him for advice instead of vice versa. And I thought that was a different perspective. I thought it was beneficial for me too, because, when I seeked out his help and I wanted his help, he gave that to me and I was really appreciative of it, but he was never one to get on me about certain techniques. Obviously he would tell me stuff, but it was more me coming to him for things.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Dad went to Michigan. Mom went to Michigan.
Yep.
Both sisters, Michigan Wolverines. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well,
so did you honestly have an option to go somewhere else?
To be honest, I did not. No. I may have visited some other schools, but, Michigan was always number one for me. I mean, my parents met there, started dating my dad's 5th year. And then my older sister graduated from there a couple of years ago. My middle sister, she just graduated from there this year. Now I'll be graduating this December. So it's just kind of, a family of Michigan blood. It's, I born and raised Michigan fans. Like, I mean, we're Michigan diehards all the way.
Give me your first memory of being at the university, like your first game as a kid or your first time when you were younger and you visited campus.
Yeah. I don't quite remember the first time, I don't think, but probably the most memorable time. I mean, I've been to so many games as a kid. My dad had season tickets. We had our tailgating spot. I mean, every Saturday home game, we were there together with his buddies, just having a good time. But it was cool. I remember Eastern Michigan. Michigan played Eastern, and my dad was the honorary captain for that game. I think it was for the 91 football team. And so I got to be on the sideline, go in the locker room with the guys. Really cool. Met Michael Phelps on the sideline. That was really cool. But that was probably the most memorable experience I've had when I was a kid, just growing up as a Michigan fan.
What was Phelps like?
I was just another kid you had to take a picture with, but it was okay. It was okay. I understand, football guys are moving. I got a picture with him, but he was a lot of people knew it was Michael Phelps. So he was trying to knock out the pictures.
Do you still have the picture? I'd love to see it. You got to post it online if you have it.
Oh yeah, I have it still. I'm gonna have to dig deep. I know my mom definitely has it. It's deep somewhere in the camera roll, somewhere in there.
Okay, so we established the maize and blue ties, and you said you really couldn't have gone anywhere. You never visited Ohio State, did you?
Oh, I did. I did with my dad too. It
what?
Was yeah. They wanted me to visit, and I was like, well, might as well check them out. Yeah. And I checked it out. It was it was Ohio State, and then I left, moved on, and committed to Michigan.
Was your dad like holding in the vomit the whole time he was there?
I think it must have been pretty weird for him because, at the time I really had no time. I mean, I was a fan my whole life, but I mean, I didn't live in Schembechler Hall, and I wasn't practicing spring ball camp, all of it. And he's been in it. See, now my perspective, now being in it, I couldn't imagine walking into that facility. You know what I'm saying? And it must have been weird for him.
I mean, if they offered, would you have thought about it?
No way. I mean, Michigan was always the number one. I mean, everything. I live right here too, so I live real close to Ann Arbor. So it was just it was the best decision for me and my family.
You mentioned the two sisters. I'm told that even you're 6 whatever and whoever. I mean, you're a strong dude, but I'm told they can dominate you. That if you cross the line, they own you.
My sisters?
Yeah.
Well, maybe back when I was like 4 or something or 5, but back in the day, growing up with two sisters, I mean, it wasn't your typical, brotherly fights that you have with your brother. It was more, they used me to dress me up and do whatever the hell they wanted to do with me. So it was definitely, I wasn't really raised getting in fights with my sisters too much. Obviously I got like an annual like arm wrestling competition with my sisters. It's always fun because I love beating them and anything. So we do have a little competitive side with all of us. So it's good.
I can relate. I am the middle kid and a sister on either side. And like,
oh no,
we played football, we played school,
right?
We dress up, we played family, and that's what happens.
Oh yeah, you do everything with them, and it's fun. It's because they are also very competitive and doing everything. Growing up, I mean, it was different than having a brother. I wouldn't know, but from what I've hear, it is different. And I mean, shoot, you wouldn't know either.
Right.
But yeah, it's just different. But it was really fun growing up with two sisters.
But you were competitive with them, right? Didn't you do competitive dance with them?
Oh yeah, no question. I did competitive dance with them. I did that for about 3 years when I was in 3rd grade to 6th grade, probably. Yep. Somewhere in that time period. I think we all did that together. That was a really fun thing. It wasn't so much competitive, I don't think, thinking back on it, but it was just more of a fun thing. Obviously you want to be the best dancer out of everybody. I mean, no doubt. But it was a good experience to have with them.
Has that translated? Are you the best dancer in the locker room now?
Oh, I mean, I walk in that locker room. I don't really have any expectations, on Saturday night, dudes will see what I'm capable of. And I think I've earned a little bit of a respect with that, which is good. So, I can hold my own in that locker room. So, yeah, it's kind of where I stand on the team.
If you're not the best, who would be on the team?
Oh, the best dancer. I would say Harbaugh. Probably
hey, Harbaugh.
I don't know about Coach Harbaugh, but it's gotta be probably one of the wide receivers. I mean, when you're so little, like you just look a little smoother in the things that you do. So I'd say I'll give it to my boy Mikey Sarah still.
Okay. If I'm not mistaken, it was hip hop and contemporary.
Yes, sir.
What's the difference?
I mean, hip hop was probably my favorite, because that's the one you could really, you really put on those sneakers, and it was really fun because there was a bunch of guys in that dance studio that I was in. They were all like street dancers, all really cool. All those guys I really looked up to, when I was young and when I was doing that, and that was really cool for me. And the contemporary is more, it's I don't really know how to describe it. It's just less. It's not hip hop, but it's more contemporary. as you said, I don't really know how to describe it, but it was fun looking back on it, just because it wasn't like I was the only guy at the studio. It was more like there was a bunch of dudes, and a lot of those dudes I really looked up to, and it was really fun just being able to be creative in dancing and stuff like that, and be able to express yourself in those ways.
Yeah. And would like your attire be different when you're doing hip hop versus contemporary?
Yeah. Hip hop, you'd have like jeans on and stuff and whatever. It all depends on the music and kind of the vibe of whatever, the choreography is and stuff like that. But yeah, it all kind of depends. I know I did. This is a long time ago. This is it's contemporary, just more. It kind of depends on the vibe of the song and of the choreography.
By the way, my favorite answer of maybe all our podcasts is, what's the difference between hip hop and contemporary? Well, contemporary is more contemporary.
Contemporary is more contemporary, if I had to describe it.
And I know you said it wasn't like super competitive, but like, did you get trophies or ribbons or anything like that at the end of a competition?
Oh, no, it was super competitive. I just wasn't as competitive with my sisters with it. I guess we were a little bit, but no, it was super competitive. I mean, we'd be going to national competitions, and you'd be trying to win that big trophy. And it was really fun too, because you go to like Virginia Beach or something like that. It changed every single year, and you're with your team, and you got to perform, and obviously you want that big boy trophy. But yeah, it was super competitive though.
What was the best trophy you got? The highest you placed?
Oh God, I don't even know. I don't think actually. I think we did when I was probably in like 4th grade or 5th grade. I think we won the big one at one of the competitions. But
yeah,
that's I don't really remember it too well. I'm being honest with you.
Okay, so when you win the Heisman this year, it doesn't, the trophy you're replacing it with, it doesn't mean that much to you.
Oh, exactly. Oh, well, it'll be right next to it. All right.
You did something interesting this summer. In August, you were a part of an autograph signing, which was the first ever for current Michigan player because of the passing of the NIL. What was that like?
It was cool. It was about an hour and a half. We got a big line of fans. They'd come in, so we'd say what's up, sign a couple things, take a picture, and then just keep rolling them through. And it was it's crazy that me and Dax Hill were the first ones to do this in the history of Michigan athletics. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, a lot of groundbreaking stuff has been happening to me in the past couple of years with COVID. I mean, this NIL stuff coming out. I mean, college football has changed so much from even since when I was a freshman. So,
and I just realized, by the way, in 10 years, some kid's going to be saying what you were about Phelps. He was like, yeah, I met Aidan Hutchinson. You know, I just took a picture and moved on to the next guy.
Right. I know. It's crazy. It's really wild.
What was like the discussion, the text threads amongst teammates when NIL like went from, hey, this might happen, to, no, guys, it's real. We're going to make a handful of bucks if we want to.
Yeah, it was, you heard a couple rumblings about it with California, and you didn't really know what was going on. And then, you see the NCAA release a statement that the NIL stuff is like all legal and ready to go. And like, no one really knew what to do. We all kind of were like, oh, this is cool. But you didn't really understand kind of the magnitude of what was about to happen. And I don't know, none of us really knew what to do. So I just started DMing a bunch of companies that I liked. And I was like, hey, this NIL thing is now live. So you want to send me some stuff so I can promote your product? So that was kind of the extent. Huh?
Did it work?
It worked. I got some golf merchandise from this company. I mean, I reached out to a few people and I got some responses. So that was really cool. And it was just, you realize that the possibilities are really endless with this, and you can really get creative with it. And, starting off, dudes had no idea, where to go with this. So,
a lot of people who are skeptical of it or cynical about it are saying like, yeah, it's going to divide a locker room because, a couple of guys are going to make a lot and the other guys that won't be making anything are going to be upset. You know more than I do, but I don't think it would be like that way. My assumption is that maybe one or two guys would be upset, but most of them be like, whatever, like the quarterback's already going to get the girls, the attention, the interview.
Right. Yeah, it was people. Yeah, a lot of that. I had some interviews when all that stuff happened, and they were like worried about the locker room, worried about this and that. And I mean, we're sitting here August 19th now, about a month and a half ish since it's been released, and like, I mean, dudes don't really even talk about it. I mean, it's kind of like people do some deals and stuff happens, but it's like you kind of just keep rolling. And I don't think it's really affected our locker room at all. Obviously, guys are trying to make some bread, but it's kind of just make bread at your own at your own will, pretty much.
Or just DM a bread company.
Or just DM a bread company.
When did you launch a clothing line?
Oh, I haven't launched the clothing line yet. We did have the first thing I released on July 1st was the shirt jersey that I collaborated with the Players Trunk kind of to make an exclusive drop of about 200 of these shirt jerseys. And that was pretty groundbreaking for me too. It was really cool to finally like legally, get names on the back of a jersey or a shirt jersey and get this thing rolling. So I haven't dropped any official clothing line yet. I'm working, we got the logo set right now, and that's probably something that would happen in the future. But we kind of had that exclusive drop about a month ago with the Players Trunk. But that's all we got right now.
Aiden, this is pretty cool, man. I mean, a
Oh, for
logo
sure.
and a clothing. I mean, it's pretty. This is like you said 5 months ago. None of this would have felt like normal, and this kind of is. It's becoming normal.
Oh, for sure. It's crazy. It's crazy how all that's it's just insane. Looking back to 2018 when I came in, I mean, boy, how has college football changed? I mean, it is nothing like how I came in. Even with the NCAA changing the practice requirements, limiting the days of fully padded practices. I mean, this camp has been like so smooth so far, in my opinion, just in terms of the physical contact, because the NCAA is trying to make it safer and stuff like that and limit the days of contact, which I think is really good for college football. But boy, it's just like it's so much different than it was 4 years ago.
So if a clothing line is in the future, then that means you have an eye towards fashion. And I think we can all agree the Michigan uniform is elite.
Uh-huh.
But which uniforms in the Big Ten, besides Michigan, look the best? Give me your top three.
Okay. Ooh, look the best. Let me think. Who? Ooh. Do you have a top three?
A lot of people like Penn State because it's clean.
I like Penn State. It's all right.
Some people like Minnesota's colors, or they like the old school Gopher logo.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State, I don't think you'd pick.
That red is just a little hurts the eye a little bit. I'll go with Penn State. I like Penn State, especially I like their whites. It's pretty clean. I'm trying to think. I think Nebraska's got some cool alternate uniforms. They kind of got the blackout theme, I think. Those are pretty dope. I think I saw them last year. I mean, I can't give – it's hard to give love out to these Big Ten teams that, you're going to see a majority of them this year. And I like Northwestern too, I think, because they always get some cool stuff with – I think because they got the Under Armour deal, and they always get some cool alternates that are usually pretty cool. I mean, depending on the year, but usually they got some pretty cool alternates.
I love that it's borderline painful for you to say the uniform looks pretty good.
I know it hurts. It hurts my soul a little bit to admit that, but I guess that's that.
You were not only a football player as a kid. Rank for me all the other sports that you were actually pretty darn good at when you were younger.
Really, all I did before football was I started playing football in 7th grade, football and lacrosse. And I played those from 7th grade to my senior year of high school. So those were kind of like my love, my things that I just loved doing. And then before that, I played flag football and I was a dancer. I was a competitive dancer. And so I think dancing gives me an interesting background and kind of a different perspective, because you don't really see a lot of football players who used to competitively dance, which I think it was pretty interesting for me. And so that was really fun growing up. I mean, growing up playing flag football, I always was in love with football. Playing flag was just fun. I always wanted to play tackle, but my dad wouldn't let me for, concussions and stuff. He didn't think 3rd graders running around was just too smart with just, like brains and stuff like that. Yeah, those were kind of I never played too many sports when I was a kid. I was never your four sport athlete who was doing freaking tennis, football, golf, all that stuff. But I think I have a pretty, unique history.
All right, I've gone 20 minutes without asking you Harbaugh, so let's get to it. Give me your favorite Harbaugh story.
Favorite Harbaugh story? No, is it weird that no one's asked me this ever?
What?
No one's ever asked me about my favorite moment with Harbaugh or favorite Harbaugh story.
I'm going to win a Pulitzer for this.
See, but you caught me off guard now. Now I got to think.
Could be when he recruited you. Could be as a freshman. Could be in the middle of a game. Could be the funniest thing he ever said.
Okay. I got the most interesting Harbaugh moment. Okay. So I'm on the ground injured in the Indiana game. And this is when I broke my ankle. But at the time, I didn't know I broke my ankle because I was just laying there. I thought I sprained it. And I'm kind of laying down there in pain, just trying to catch my breath. I got a whole circle of people around my head. And I see Coach Harbaugh, and no one's really saying anything. And all he says is like, I'm screaming, and all he says is, "Hey, did you tape your ankles?" And I'm sitting there, I'm laying there like no. And then no one said anything else. And then I walk off, and trainers are moving my ankle, stuff like that. It wasn't looking good. It took me out, and I found out I broke my ankle. But it was just laying there in pain and agony. And Coach Harbaugh just comes up, complete silence. You tape your ankles? It was a moment. It was a moment. It was something I'll never forget. But yeah,
because it wasn't, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard there for a second.
What is that feeling like, by the way, you mentioned you're on the ground, there's a huddle of people around you, and there's 40, 80, 100,000 people and whatever stadium you could have been at. When you're injured on the field, what is that feeling like?
It's weird. Because I'm just laying there trying to catch my breath, because I think I was just so with the adrenaline and everything, and people are just looking down and you asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was like, let me just catch my breath before I even think about anything. And it was kind of that, but it's weird, just laying there, and you got the whole freaking crowd of doctors and coaches and seeing if you're okay, and you're just you're the center of attention for a hot second, and then you walk off. But it was definitely crazy. Just last year being in Indiana and breaking my ankle, that whole situation was pretty unreal.
When you were a freshman, you played in all 13 games.
Yep.
What do you remember about the first home game, the first time as a Michigan player when you played with everybody around you?
Yeah, the first home game, I believe, was Western Michigan. It was crazy. I mean, walking out that tunnel, as a kid, I dreamed of doing that. I was sitting in our season tickets. We'd watch those guys touch the banner. And it was crazy being in that perspective of a football player and running out, touching that banner. The butterflies were unreal. You walk out there in that little tunnel and you see the whole entire stadium just full of people. And it was really such a cool experience for me, especially kind of to have a unique perspective of being a fan my whole life and then actually walking out that tunnel as a player. I mean, it's crazy.
Loudest you ever heard the Big House?
Okay. Loudest I ever heard the Big House, I would say probably it was in 2019 when it was either against Wisconsin or Penn State. And I think I forgot what had happened, but I think one of our corners got a pick six or something, and we were beating Wisconsin or Penn State by about 30. And that thing was rocking. And it was, when you got a big lead in the Big House, it's fun to be in that atmosphere and just to be involved with that crowd.
You're not done with Michigan yet, obviously, but when you are, you don't have to say it, but you're going to get drafted. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Too many smart people that have been doing this too long have been saying you're going to get drafted.
Yep.
When do you allow yourself to, even just at night, just to go to bed and have a dream about what draft night's going to feel like?
Oh yeah, that's something that I do visualize though, because I think it's important to visualize yourself and really put that into the universe, put it into existence, where you see yourself going. And it kind of, something that I do when I visualize that is I just visualize all of the emotions that come with it, just being with my family, and just kind of celebrating that moment. And that's something that's one moment that I'll never forget. And that's something that, I do sometimes at night. I just sit there and I think about it. And, I get a little emotional thinking about it, even visualizing it. So I don't even know. I wonder how I'll be when it actually happens, but that is something that I do, it just gets me so fired up. And, I've worked so hard, for that moment to come. And I can't wait until it does.
I bet you'll have quite a suit.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, it'd be cool.
I like that you're open about it. I feel like too many people would try to be too polished and, we're just worried about this week's opponent. I'll worry about that later. I like that you're like, of course, that's a goal. That's something I want to do. It's in my mind. And I think it's good that you can not have that affect what you're doing in a day-to-day, but have it as that next thing in the future, because I would imagine you're in your position, there'd be some concerns about like, well, when do I start talking about an agent? When do I talk to current NFL guys? When do I allow those dreams to become what I think about without it affecting my day-to-day?
Yeah, no doubt. And that's something that you have to do a good job of. It's a nice balance of kind of visualizing the future, but also living in the present. Obviously when we get into the season week by week, I'm gonna have all my focus and energy on that upcoming opponent. But it's good because every player has their long-term goals and their short-term goals and stuff like that. And I think it's really good to visualize them because it, sometimes when you get distracted, whether that be anything, going out, girls, all the distractions you can even think of, it's good to kind of think of your goals and visualize them so you can start to realign yourself with them.
Well, Aidan, before you go, we're going to do before you go. 4 questions unrelated to anything. You ready?
Yep.
Number 1, what's the worst job you had?
Worst job I've ever had? I haven't even had a job, really.
What? You didn't work as a busboy or a lifeguard or?
I've done a couple of internships and stuff like that, like while I've been at Michigan, but I really just worked out and stuff like that when I was in high school, like insane in the winter and in the summer. And, but I never really had an official job.
Okay. Well, once you're in the NFL, that will technically be your worst job.
That's right. It's the only one.
Number 2, best style of pizza anywhere.
Best style as in like Detroit style or like New York style?
Chicago. Yeah.
What is it's the one, just the round pizza. Is that like New York?
All pizza's round, Aidan. All pizza's round.
No. I'm saying not because I know Detroit style has got the square slices.
Oh, that's true. Right.
Yeah, but what's just the regular? I just like regular round pizza. I mean, am I boring for that? Maybe. But
no, well, again, like a New York pizza is round and then it's cut into a triangle and it's full of grease, and the Chicago deep dish is round, but it's cut into a triangle and it's thick. And then there's
I'm not a big Chicago guy. I don't like deep dish very much. I don't like how Chicago stuffs it like that. I mean, I think you need but I also don't like, isn't there like Neapolitan pizza where it's like thin slices or something? I'm not a huge fan of that. I just like, I love Hawaiian pizza. I mean, that's a debatable topic. I love pineapple on pizza. I think it belongs on it. But if you get me a round pizza that's Hawaiian, I mean, I'm all for it. But, as long as it's not stuffed with anything, just a nice basic pizza.
You just did the least controversial pizza take. I like round pizzas with the most controversial. I like Hawaiian pizza.
Right. Exactly. I don't know the pizza styles that much. I don't eat a ton of pizza, but that's kind of where I stand with that.
Number 3, what celebrity would you most want to meet?
Ooh. Okay. I think I would probably meet, ooh. I think, for a girl, I would meet Margot Robbie.
Okay.
I love Margot Robbie. She's a beautiful woman. If she's ever off the market or on the market, I'm here at Michigan.
Put it out in the universe. Put it out there.
Put it out in the universe. Soon to be graduated too. I'm a grown man. And then for a guy, I think I would like to meet Brad Pitt. I feel like he'd be a cool dude to meet.
Yeah. Just don't meet the two of them together or you got no shot with Margot.
Yeah, for sure separate, but putting that Margot Robbie dream into the universe right there.
Put it out there. I like that. Final one. Best sporting event you ever went to as a fan, purely as a fan.
I was at the game when Michigan beat Ohio State in 2011. And that was looking back at it now, because we haven't beat them in so long, that's probably the best event I've ever been to.
What would it be like to beat them this year?
You don't even know. Yeah. You don't even know how much that would mean to me, and especially being at the big house this year, just being able to celebrate it in my home. It'd mean the world.
Well, if that happens, I hope it does for your sake, so that you can celebrate with a round pizza.
Hawaiian too.
Aidan, thanks a bunch, man.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
So to recap, there was probably no way that visit to Columbus was going to work out. His favorite type of pizza is the circle type. And a hello, how you doing to On the Bench podcast frequent listener Margot Robbie. My thanks to Aidan Hutchinson for joining me. Heads up, our pal Alex Rue always has great stuff on his Take 10 podcast. Be sure to check that out. But that'll do it for this episode. We'll be back with a new one every week, just about for all of the football and basketball seasons. From the Big Ten Network in Chicago, I'm Mike Hall. We'll see you next week.